The following is a RackRadioShow.com exclusive.
Welcome back to The Rack right here on Wild Talk Radio Network, presented as always by Wrestling Figure Photography. Follow the journey today at Instagram.com/MBG1211. Joining us right now is a 6-time Impact Wrestling Knockouts champion, but now shining in her new role as the mother to an adorable baby boy. Please welcome to the show, Angelina Love. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing great. So excited to be talking to you today. So we were just talking about your son before we started doing this. How is motherhood treating you?
Oh my gosh, it's absolutely the greatest thing ever. It definitely makes life a little bit more hectic. But I mean, my son is just there's no greater gift than your child. And he is just, we've been blessed with the most happy-go-lucky, calm, cool, collected sweetheart of a baby boy. And he's just the greatest part of my life.
How has that affected wrestling in terms of having your son and wrestling?
It hasn't really. The only thing is that like, we'll bring him to shows sometimes and we'll have to have, somebody help take care of him or if Wes and I or Davey or I are on the same show, I'll watch David while Davey wrestles his match. And then when I wrestle, Davey will watch him. So, but usually there's a lot of people, he's so precious and everyone just kind of naturally gravitates towards him. So a lot of people like want to hold him or want to help or want to hang out with him while we're busy. So, it's worked out. And then when we go to TV, he usually stays at, either one of the grandparents' house and they watch him while we're gone because those are pretty long days.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah. So they got lots of grandparent time too.
That's awesome. Was it an exciting moment for you to finally get back in the ring with Impact Wrestling after giving birth to your son?
It was, yeah. I actually returned to wrestling. I was doing independent shows 3 months after I gave birth. And then I was back at Impact probably when David was about 10 months old. So yeah, it was definitely fun to come back. And, there's been a couple times where I've left and come back, but, this one was for like a really good reason. And, it's cool to be able to have him watch what mommy and daddy do.
How does this role differ from what you were doing with the Beautiful People? As you were doing the villain role before with the Beautiful People, but now you're with your husband. Is it similar? Is it different?
Well, it's both. For some reason, I'm just really good at villain roles. I'm not sure why. But yeah, the Beautiful People was very showy, very charactery, very mean girl kind of, like high school bitchy kind of thing. This is more just violent. So as vicious as I was, as Angelina Love leading the Beautiful People, this is more like, it's not so fluffy. It's not so charactery. It's more sexual. It's more violent. It's almost like a more dangerous, more adult version of what I've done before.
And as we've seen on Impact, airing Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on Pop, this whole rivalry between yourself and Alicia Edwards, the wife of Eddie Edwards, has gone to a really personal and physical level, where the two of you can barely be in the same room with each other without wanting to tear into one another. Are you enjoying having more of a personal rivalry, or is it more difficult sometimes because it is so personal?
I mean, emotionally it's difficult because it's personal, but I think that's something that draws the fans in, is it's not just like some random thing and some random thing kind of thrown together for whatever sake. You know what I mean? This is very real. There's a ton of, personal emotion behind it. And I think it's also something different. And I think that's what's making everybody, really, really, really be interested in it.
Right. Obviously, the personal history between your husband and Eddie ties in as well, as they were a successful tag team, but now they are not. It's sort of all ties together in the culmination of this feud.
Best friends, better rivals.
Absolutely. Now, we're headed into Slammiversary on July 2nd, and you are going into Full Metal Mayhem. How do you prepare for something like that?
Talk to my husband. Yeah, because that's I'm all about stepping out of my comfort zone, stepping outside the box. And this is definitely something, like when I did the last knockout standing match against Gail, I think it was at Hardcore Justice in 2014. That was definitely something that was outside of my norm. But I really enjoy that because I like to be tested and to do something different too. So this is really exciting because it's like maximum emotion, the maximum violence, and just with how this feud has been going. And in wrestling too, you have to evolve, you have to do something different. And there's never been an intergender Full Metal Mayhem match before. So, I've never done anything Full Metal Mayhem, and I'm sure Alicia hasn't either. So, I got to study, I got to learn from my husband. I got to, listen to what he says and what he knows, because he's done it before. And, I look forward to it. It's going to be brutal and it's going to be awesome. And, everybody needs to watch this match.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I always love when people make steps forward and history is being made. Women are getting to do the same thing as the boys now, and that's awesome. I feel like we should have the same opportunities as the men.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, granted, I feel like there's some things that, women probably shouldn't do. It's not like I would, I think I feel okay about this intergender Full Metal Mayhem because it is intergender. I think it would be ridiculous if it was like Angelina Love versus Eddie Edwards, Full Metal Mayhem at Slammiversary. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that may not be so good.
Right. So I think the fact that we kind of, have it evened out, it makes sense.
After Full Metal Mayhem, once you're victorious, are you looking forward to going after the Knockouts Championship again?
I would love to. Absolutely. Yeah. Because I'm a record setter and nobody's won it 7 times. So yeah, I would absolutely love to do that division for a long time. And there's a lot of girls who are in this division now that I've actually never wrestled before. And have kind of stepped in to do their thing. So, I always have to remind all of my peers who run things around here.
I remember your runs as Knockouts champion being absolutely phenomenal, and I would love to see you go for it again.
Well, you know what? I've actually never wrestled Rosemary before, and I kind of like the idea of like the creepy versus the violent. I think that would be really cool. Sienna would be fun. Laurel, whenever she stops hitting the bottle, I'm sure we could do something there as well. But yeah, I think I could definitely have some fun with Rosemary.
Definitely looking forward to that. Maybe you guys could do a Full Metal Mayhem of your own.
I mean, I'm sure she'd be down for it.
Looking back at your time with the beautiful people, what do you think of people imitating what you and Velvet were doing at the time?
Well, imitation is the most sincere form of flattery, as we know. And it's cool because, sometimes you're kind of like, you're protective of your thing. It's your baby. You know what I mean? It's who you are. It's what you do. But it's also like, it is flattering because it's like, if people are imitating it, it's because they like it. They're watching it. They think it works. So they would want to try to use it for themselves to have something that works. And it was fun. It was entertaining. I'm sure if I was a little girl or somebody else watching the show and saw that, I'd be like, yeah, I want to be like that. That looks fun, So it's definitely a very flattering thing. Velvet and I and Madison as well, we worked our butts off, and we made that a very historical stable. And that really, nobody can ever take that away from us. And that's something that I'm so incredibly proud of. And yeah, it's not an insult for somebody to want to do something like that too. But there's only one original.
There's only one original, and you guys definitely did it the best. I remember when you guys first formed it, it was this mind-blowing thing to me, and I don't recall anyone else doing anything like it before. I remember sitting there watching it and going, this is cool and fresh and just really awesome. At that point in time, it gave a lot of people a different perspective on women's wrestling. And
that's when we were starting the Knockouts division too, so there was a whole huge, I guess I can use the word revolution, with women's wrestling at that time. Because the Knockouts division was becoming a really big thing. And, Velvet and I knew we wanted to do something different because, every other girl in the division was kind of just doing their own singular one-person character. And, we had similar personalities, similar sense of humor, similar sense of sarcasm. The way that we dressed in the ring when we wrestled was similar. We loved to be dolled up and all that kind of stuff. So, we traveled together on the road and, we were extremely close. So we were like, we should do something together. Like everybody else is like doing their own thing. What about doing something like, as a tag team or a stable or something? And we pitched it and they let us try it and then, pretty much gave us the ball and let us run with it. So we were really, really grateful for that because it was the most fun time I've had in wrestling.
You have been off and on with Impact Wrestling for the last 10 years, which celebrates 15 years on July 2nd at Slammiversary on pay-per-view. Would you say winning the title was your most favorite memory while being with Impact Wrestling, or do you have others?
I would love to say that the first time I won the Knockouts title was a favorite memory, but I was unconscious, so I don't really remember it. I only remember watching it on YouTube, but yeah, definitely.
Do you have a favorite opponent that sort of stands out to you?
No, and I'm really bad at the favorites game because Like, I don't have one favorite color. I don't have one favorite person. I don't have one favorite food. Like, I always like a lot of things. So, I feel like every girl that I have feuded with has brought out something different in me. Like Kong, for instance, was one of my favorite people to feud with. Taylor Wilde, we trained together at Squared Circle in Toronto under Rob Fuego. So being able to, go on the road, and we did house shows together and pay-per-views, and, we wrestled in the UK, and we did everything against each other. And it's so cool because it was like, we were just two girls that came from a training school in Toronto. We were in WWE developmental together as well too. So, Gail's always, made me step up my game, and Victoria, when I got released from WWE, I remember doing an interview, and they asked me, who did you not get a chance to wrestle that you've always wanted to wrestle that was in WWE? And I said, Trish and Victoria. And I was her first feud when she came to TNA. So that was really fun. And I'd say the hardest one was like against Velvet, because I question a lot of times if that was something that people actually wanted to see, because they liked us so much together, and it was personally hard for us too, no matter what we were going through, because we're girls, we're catty. But yeah, I feel like, feuding with all these different people brought out all different kinds of aspects for me. So I like everybody in their own right.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's kind of like a different day sort of thing, as it varies from day to day as you think of different things when in different moods. So today your favorite may be this, and tomorrow your favorite may be that. There's nothing wrong with it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Transitioning away from wrestling, we follow you on social media, and one thing we've learned is that you've gone back to school. How do you find time to manage everything that's going on in your life with that super busy schedule of yours? I mean, you have to be Superwoman.
Well, if you've seen the schedule that my husband runs, it's pretty crazy. So I knew that everybody should know that wrestling doesn't last forever, and especially as a female, you only want to do this to your body for so long.
Right.
And, obviously if you're going to be pregnant and having kids and stuff, or especially when you're pregnant, obviously you can't wrestle. But, and if you get hurt and that's your one source of income, I've been there, and it's you got to have other things going, So I'm kind of starting at the bottom, but you got to start somewhere. So I'm taking a psychology class right now as a prerequisite. I'd like to go to nursing school one day, and I would like to work in the cosmetic, industry. I'd like to be a cosmetic injector. I think that would be really fun. I love that whole business. So that's going to take a lot of hard work and a lot of schooling, but I can do it. Like my son, when he naps, I get on my iPad and I read my chapters, and I pretty much get a lot of stuff done when he's napping. I don't get a chance to catch up on any sleep when he's napping, but that's when I'll usually hunker down and do something like read or take my exams or do whatever I need to do schoolwork wise, because that's when I have the most quiet time. So.
That's awesome, and that's just so great. I think you should go for your own practice.
Yeah, I've actually thought about that.
I know you're busy, but I have to know because I'm curious. And this is sort of our stock standard question that we ask everyone. I know you said you don't get a lot of time off, but when you do, what do you like to do on your day off?
Well, that would be a day I'd probably catch up on some rest. I mean, I work out, and I need me time, because a lot of times when you're working, you're a mother, you're going to school, you're traveling, you're spread pretty thin. So I think it's important to just invest time in me and what I need to do to take any stress off my own shoulders. If I want to go for a massage or go see the chiropractor or go to the mall or see any friends or just catch up on anything. If I was in Florida, I'd go to the beach and relax or go on a dolphin cruise or something. So just something where I know that I can take any kind of stress off myself and just invest in me. That's what I would do all day long.
I would love to hit the beach right now. It's pouring rain here. I would just love to get out of here and go to the beach. It would be so fantastic. Everyone, catch Impact Wrestling Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern on Pop TV, and catch Angelina Love in action as she teams with her husband, Davey Richards, to take on Eddie and Alicia Edwards on July 2nd at Slammiversary, which you can see only on pay-per-view. Angelina, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me on your show. I appreciate it.